Kamal Hadden has been trashed by Tennessee fans after the way he played against South Carolina last year when he got wrecked by, I think it was Juice Wells, and cost Tennessee a shot at the college football playoff. And he deserved it because he was talking trash and then got destroyed. What a lot of Tennessee fans don't realize is that Kamal Hadden has dramatically improved this year. Now, again, on the highlight reel, you see some bad plays because you see that missed tackle against Florida, and a lot of people can't get over that. However, there is some information out there about Kamal Hadden that I think you guys should know about, because I think it's actually shocking how good he is, and I didn't see this coming. Kamal Hadden is 6th in the SEC in pass breakups this year with 6. He's 5th in the SEC with interceptions with 2. One of those was a pick 6 that put Tennessee in control against South Carolina. On the year, he's allowed just 10 catches for 64 yards. His overall PFF grade so far is 80.2, 4th best on the team. And most notably, Kamal Hadden is 9th nationally in his coverage grade by PFF at 86. Yes, Kamal Hadden is a top 10 cornerback in college football right now. You guys can hate on him all you want, but the numbers are clear. Kamal Hadden is balling out this year. So he is, I'm seeing the message board already come at me on this, but I'm sorry. Kamal Hadden is playing very, very well. He is far and away 100,000% the most improved player on this team right now. There's not a close second. Now, some people would bring up Wesley Walker as a reliable free safety. Wesley Walker wasn't much of an improvement, though, because Wesley Walker was very, very good towards the end of last year. Kamal Hadden was not, and now he is. I'm sorry, guys. Kamal Hadden's a good player, and I think this is one of the big reasons Tennessee's defense has taken a major step forward this year. Their secondary has actually been a lot better. We haven't noticed it as much, but their defensive backs have played very, very well. And honestly, I think Kamal Hadden is a big reason for that. Wesley Walker starting at safety is another one. No disrespect to Trey Flowers. I love Trey Flowers. He made a lot of sacrifices. He's a great player. He is somebody who is worth being commended. But Trey Flowers was playing with an injury or an illness at the end of last year, as we found out. So that really kind of messed him up. It's a Football Friday with Fred. I wanted to bring on Fred White to talk a little bit about this too. Fred, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Thanks for doing this with me today. Dave is flying to Massachusetts to see his son and enjoy October in the Northeast. And by the way, he's a Celtics fan, and I made the joke that I guess it's a holiday for them in Boston since they got Drew Holiday now. Brett, I wanted you to chime in on this because you were a defensive back. I want to get right to business. The message board's going at me because I am saying that the numbers have been out there and they show that Kamal Hadden is one of the best defensive backs in college football right now and a top 10 player in his PFF grade for coverage. What have you seen from Kamal Hadden this year?
I think he's a good football player. A few years ago, we looked at a guy by the name of Justin Coleman, and everybody thought, man, this kid, he gets beat all the time. Well, he's playing in the NFL right now. I think what the NFL scouts and what they're looking at are different things than what we see. How long does he cover? How long does he have to cover? Will he have to cover this long when he's in the NFL? With a good pass rush and those type of things? What is his technique like? Does he make the tackle? Those type of things make a difference as well. And how many times do people catch passes on him as far as like being open? Those are things that they look at as well. So, I mean, has he had a great season? He's had a pretty good year. I think it can get better. I'd like to see him get more interceptions, but based on sometimes when we're playing man-to-man coverage, it's hard to get interceptions in man-to-man coverage. Contrary to what the popular people may believe, it is very hard to get interceptions in man-to-man coverage. You mainly get interceptions out of zone coverage.
That actually makes sense because with zone, you can close in on the ball, whereas interception, you're having to guard one-on-one down the field.
Well, in zone, you usually have your back to the sideline and your face to the quarterback. So you're always seeing the ball being thrown. when you're playing man-to-man coverage, you're focused on that man. You usually don't see the ball throw.
You know, it's funny you say that because looking back at you guys, I rewatched, this was a few weeks ago, but I had rewatched the highlights from that 98 Florida game. Y'all seem almost exclusively in zone coverage in the secondary throughout that game, and y'all closed in so fast every time a receiver caught the ball on Florida that year.
Some of our defenses were zone coverages that turned into man. It depends on how far they ran down the football field. So once they've gone past 10 yards, now it turns into man. You cover that man. But it was a hybrid defense, something that guys don't even do much anymore, but I think it works even to this day. The teams that have done it, you look at what Alabama has done, they actually run a form of what we used to run at Tennessee. If you go to the NFL, you look at what the Patriots did with their great defenses. Mainly they ran a lot of zone coverages, but the one thing they did was it turned into man after so much time. How many yards down the football field or a certain route, those type of things, is it turned into man. I think that's one of the reasons why Peyton had issues with the Patriots, because they did run some of the same stuff we ran in college.
Oh, I never thought about that. Yeah, Peyton actually, he had said one time, he said that it wasn't that he had trouble figuring out the Patriots defense. He said they were just good. He said the defensive backs were just good. And it's and at the end of the day, sometimes football just comes down to they're just really good. Isn't it? And yeah, I actually, funny enough, the Seahawks game that the Broncos struggled in so much, I don't know if they ran zone, but their secondary was so elite. I didn't think Peyton was going to be able to just outsmart the secondary, and I didn't think that was going to happen. But that I did. Leading into the week, I kind of felt a loss might be coming because of that secondary and how good they play.
And I look at when it comes to most quarterbacks, when they come to the line of scrimmage, they change their plays, those type of things. They're looking at first movements. They're looking at what they see to be the defense right then, right? So when you come to the line of scrimmage, you make a check. Okay, you're going to identify the middle linebacker, then you identify what the safeties are doing to know whether it's a man-to-man coverage or zone coverage. If you can run your defense to where it's man-to-man or zone right out of the gate, all of a sudden it switches to zone, or all of a sudden it switches to man. It makes that quarterback think a little bit longer. You know what I mean? And that 1/2 second may cause a sack or an interception.
Yeah, and how much of that, all those crazy audible words Peyton Manning would throw at the line of scrimmage, how much of those were just dummy calls to try to get the defense to bite and change its formation?
Most of those, I don't know if they were dummy calls. Most of them have been their protection calls. He's calling out something to his linemen to make sure they understand where a certain person is, shaded, and where they're going. Or if he knows the safety is going to be in a certain position, he's telling his running back a certain thing to do, or as far as blocking or chip the defensive end coming up the edge there. Or also telling his lineman, hey, his receivers, this is what they're running. I need you to go to this, change your route to this coverage, change your route to man beater as opposed to zone beater. So those words do have a lot of say, if that makes sense.
Makes sense. Yeah, I got that. Sticking with Tennessee a little bit, have you been pleasantly surprised with the dramatic improvement in the secondary this year? I think they've been able to. Tennessee didn't really pressure Spencer Rattler last week, and the secondary just shut him down. I mean, we talk about the pass rush, and the pass rush was incredible, but I think the defensive backs aren't getting enough credit for how they played in that game.
Well, anytime you got a good pass rush, the secondary is better because it means he's getting the ball out faster. He's doing things with the ball that he wouldn't normally do. He's trying to figure out how to get that ball out of his hands, and that's what we want as a secondary. As a secondary, when you know you got somebody coming off the edge that's going to get to the quarterback, you know the ball's coming out faster. You don't have to cover as long, so it makes your secondary better. When your secondary has to cover for more than 3 seconds, that's when everything goes awry. The longer the quarterback has the ball in his hands, the more we can look at it. Think about something. Guys are running 4.3s and 4.2s and 4.4s in 40 yards. That means we're talking about 4-point-something seconds. So if you got to cover for more than 3 seconds and a guy's running that fast, yeah, it changes the way you had to cover somebody. And it changes your ability to be able to cover them. But you got pass rush coming behind that, and that ball's coming out in 3 seconds, that guy's never going to reach his full potential as far as speed-wise, and he can't run with so many different routes. That means the ball's coming out fast. One of the things we had was Deion Grant in the middle of the football field and Sean Ellis and those guys on the pass rush, Raynard coming off on the blitz. We knew those balls were coming out fast, so Dwayne Givers can sit on a curl route or out route. If we didn't have that pass rush, you couldn't sit on those things.
Speaking of that, Rocky Top Tom is asking Fred if you can suit up against Alabama in 2 weeks. You want to do it?
I don't think they're going to leave me. I think we're going to win that game anyway.
Wow, Fred already. Okay. Well, if Fred were playing today, guys, Fred, I wanted to ask you this because, Fred, you were apparently the find out opposing players' girlfriends. So if you were starting at safety and facing the Chiefs, what would you be saying to Travis Kelce right now?
Yeah, I was singing every song she has. Every time I made a tackle. But hey, listen, man, that's a bad boy, though. That doggone, hey, man, that's a bad boy.
Travis Kelce?
He can play the game. He's probably the best tight end to play the game, arguably the best tight end to play the game. And he's done a really good job. But yeah, I would be – I got a lot of that gives me a lot of firepower. I don't know exactly. I don't know. I don't listen to Taylor Swift. But I would before that week, I guarantee it. And I was singing every word. And
you would probably I'm pretty sure you would tell him, Taylor Swift's going to break up with you and write a song about how bad you are at this, right?
I'm going to be her next boyfriend, her next hit.